Hi, welcome to True North Strong and Free, the show that plays 100% Canadian independent music. If you are a Canadian musician and you are an independent Canadian musician or even signed to a small market label and you want to get your stuff heard on this show, please send MP3s and a short bio to Canadian 100%, all spelled out, no caps, no spaces, Canadian 100% at gmail.com. I'm really excited about today's show. We got a lot of really fantastic music to play today. Please go to the True North Strong and Free Facebook page and YouTube channel to see the videos that I've put up there that contain all of the links where you can go and purchase the music that I'm going to play today. This is what we're going to do for all of the shows from now on. True North Strong and Free Facebook and YouTube pages have links to purchase all of the music that are on the shows. I'm really excited about today's show. We got a lot of really fantastic music to play today. Going to start off today with a couple of tracks from the Soul Jazz Orchestra. This is absolutely magnificent stuff. I'll give you a little read on the Soul Jazz Orchestra. Since first arriving on the scene at the turn of the millennium, the Soul Jazz Orchestra has never stopped pushing the limits of its signature sound, an explosive clash of soul, jazz, and tropical styles unleashed by blaring, majestic horns, dusty vintage keyboards, and an arsenal of earthquaking percussion. What I really love about this group, the music is very groove-based. It's very danceable, very much in the body, and the sounds are coming from various places around the world. Different, you could call it world music. I think that label is a bit antiquated, but it's got different sounds from various different places all over the world. And most, I think, probably the strongest element that I hear in that is music from Ethiopia, and particularly a style called Ethio Jazz. Ethio Jazz is a mixture of Ethiopian scales, African rhythms, and in a jazz context. When I say Ethiopian scales, generally Ethiopian music works on a 5-tone or pentatonic scale system. There are a number of different names for the scales, but generally they're working within 5 tones, and the use of those 5 tones is done both in the writing of the melody and in the harmonies as well. It creates some very interesting tension and release. It's very wonderful music. It's really great stuff. Here's a couple of tracks from Soul Jazz Orchestra. Oh man, I love that stuff. That is amazing music from Soul Jazz Orchestra. Again, don't forget, go to the True North Strong and Free Facebook page and YouTube channel. Find the videos for this episode, episode number 7, links to all of the music where you can go and buy it. And please go buy the music are found on those videos. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit here, something quite different from that. Here's a band called the Stonehands. The write-up on the Stonehands, a 4-piece original rock band from Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, influenced by the music of pre-internet cell phone days that provided a backdrop for memorable moments in our lives, a blend of classic, progressive, and hard rock reimagined for the modern era. This track that I'm going to play, I really, really enjoy this. It has a lot of elements of what I would consider to be classic progressive rock, which I'm a big, big fan of, actually. I love it. I get a little bit of kidding from some of my musician friends about that, but I think it's fantastic stuff. And particularly, I like this track from the Stonehands because it has a little bit of that in it. It's got some really nice aggressive guitars, which I really enjoy. And it's also got a sense of humor, which I think is really great. It reminds me a little bit of Captain Beefheart, perhaps Frank Zappa, and another great Canadian band, Max Webster. Here are the Stonehands.
Dancing in
Yeah, man, that's a lot of fun. That's great. Stonehands. Terrific stuff. Switching gears yet again. Tayar Frost. I play quite a bit of Tayar's music here on the show so far. Great musician. Tayar Frost is a multi-instrumentalist specializing in traditional fiddle tunes with a particular interest in the Appalachian Mountains. He spent 12 years touring with critically acclaimed band Shisham, Lotus and Son. Shisham, Lotus and Son is a fantastic act. Tayar now is doing his own stuff. Again, the links to his music is found on the video for episode number 7 on the True North Strong and Free Facebook page and YouTube channel. Tayar Frost.
It's a great separation my friends they have caused me by bearing their spite that my favor was won. It's a great separation, likewise a vexation. There's no turning back from what we have all done. Eat, drink, and be jolly, care not for folly, drown away sorrows in a bottle of wine. Pass it to the boys with the full flowing bumpers, and play on the fiddle to pass away time. Adieu to Bon County, I'm bound for to leave you and seek my heart's fortune in some foreign land, where bottles and glasses are my greatest comfort. And when we do meet, we will join heart and hand. Eat, drink, and be jolly, care not for folly, drown away sorrows in a bottle of wine. Pass it to the boys with the full flowing bumpers, and play on my fiddle to pass away time. Farewell to my friends and to my good old neighbors, likewise to the girl that I'll never see more. For this world it is wide and I'll roam it with pleasure. I don't care for no one that don't care for me. Eat, drink, and be jolly, care not for folly, drown away sorrows in a bottle of wine. Pass it to the boys with the full flowing bumpers, and play on my fiddle to pass away time. My fortune is small, but freely I own it. What little I have, it is all of my own. I might have lived longer to enjoy it with pleasure if my poor friends had left me alone. Eat, drink, and be jolly, care not for folly, drown away sorrows in a bottle of wine. Pass it to the boys with the full flowing bumpers, play on that fiddle to pass away time. I've money aplenty to bear my expenses. When it's all gone, I'll chop wood and make more. When death it comes o'er me, I'll freely go with it, pay up my last dues and go with it home. Eat, drink, and be jolly, care not for folly, drown away sorrows in a bottle of wine. Pass it to the boys with the full flowing bumpers, play on that fiddle to pass away time. Eat, drink, and be jolly, care not for folly, drown away sorrows in a bottle of wine. Pass it to the boys with the full flowing bumpers, and play on my fiddle to pass away time.
So I've got a bit of a special thing for today's show. I've got an interview that I did with Canadian-Cuban trumpet player Alexis Barrow. Alexis Barrow is probably, I would have to say definitely, the best Latin jazz trumpeter in Canada, at least, North America, I'm sure, and potentially the world. I'm trying not to blow too much smoke about that, but Alexis Barrow is very, very highly regarded and an outstanding musician. He's also a really great guy. And I managed to do an interview with Alexis. He's going to talk about a number of various things, like his introduction to the Canadian music scene, getting into when he first arrived from Cuba, being introduced to the Canadian jazz scene, most particularly a work that he did with a very influential and highly regarded, really important Canadian jazz group put together by co-founders Archie Aline and Doug Thompson. The band was called Collage, and Alexis got a foot up when he came to Canada, started playing with them. He's going to talk about a lot of other things. I'm not going to try to fill the space talking about what he's going to talk about. Here's a little bit of my interview with Alexis Barrow. I'm here talking to the great Alexis Barrow, one of the very best Latin jazz trumpeters in the world, I think, and certainly definitely in North America. Hi, Alexis. Do you want to introduce yourself to the listener?
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm Alexis Barrow, trumpet player, originally from Cuba, living in Toronto, Canada for the last 25 years.
25 years, man. Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me something. This is something that I've been asking a lot of the people that I've been interviewing. Can you tell me what was the first musical thing that you fell in love with?
I don't know what was the first musical thing. I just fell in love with music. I'm playing the trumpet. It's what I want to do, and I guess stubborn at an early age. Against my mother's will, I just decided to do it anyways because she's a musician, retired now, right?
Right.
But she's a musician, so she definitely warned me. It's a very ungrateful career and a very tough career. So she's like, why don't you go and do something else that maybe make you, I don't know, you get to enjoy your life better or whatever. But it's what I grew up surrounded by. So there was nothing else in my mind to do except music.
Yeah, I know. And I had the same sort of situation with everybody telling me, you're going to starve. Only so many make it and all of this kind of stuff. And I remember at a very early age going, yeah, I guess I'm going to starve because I know I don't really have any choice. But let me ask you a question about your experiences when you first arrived in Canada. And in particular, making yourself available to the various music scenes. You were in Toronto, and I think that you got yourself associated with the jazz scene in Toronto. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, when I first moved here, I was seeking something different than what I was doing at home, but also that I really like. So more of a learning stage of playing R&B and funk music, and obviously playing jazz because that's what I love to do. So yeah, like when I first moved, hanging out with some musicians, I came across College Street Bar. And the day that I went, I can't remember if it was the day that was the jam or if it was the day that was the show, but I just remember seeing an incredible amount of musicians playing, like, playing, grooving, hanging, like, people digging into what they were doing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the place that I want to be at. So, uh, going through the jam at College Street Bar, that's how I met a lot of the musicians in the R&B and funk world. That was within the first, I want to say, 5 6 months that I
Yeah.
was in Toronto. I will go there. Cindy, the wife of the late great Shamaka Ali, the drummer, she would say, "Come, I'll get you in." Like, cause I don't think there was any trumpet player coming onto the jam. She's like, "Come," especially black. There was no black trumpet player. There was a lot of black musicians, but there was no black trumpet players coming there. So she's like, "Come every whatever Sunday or Monday, whatever there was the jam. Come by. I'll get you in and I'll get you a drink and come and play."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, this is godsend because." This is pretty much where I want to be
Yeah.
whenever I get a chance. So I used to go there pretty regularly, and I met tons of musicians that I know to today. Some of them not around anymore. Some of them moved. Some of them passed away. But I met a big network of musicians. And doing that, um, I one of the regulars that used to go there. She came and approached me. She's like, "Hey, my dad is looking for a trumpet player. He has a jazz quintet. You think you want to do some of that because again, there was not a lot of black trumpet players in town doing the jazz thing." So I'm like, "Yeah, sure." She's like, "Okay, my dad is gonna come see you at one of the gigs that you're playing with this man, and he will introduce and we will talk about." And that's how I got into collage because her dad was the late great Archie Aline.
Let me just weigh in there a little bit, Alexis. For those that don't know, Archie Aline and his band Collage are a major historical jazz group in Canada. I believe that Archie Aline himself received the Order of Canada. I
Yeah,
thinking that yeah, that's true. Is that right?
yeah, I think
This
so.
is one of the most important bands in Canadian jazz history. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Alexis. I wanted to actually, if I could just bookmark that, would you mind just telling the listeners a little bit more about? We'll come back to Collage, but could you tell me a little bit more about some of the other musicians you met at the College Street Bar?
Okay, so yeah, when I the very first few times um I went there, I was in awe because I always like jazz, I always like R&B, I always like funk, but I never got to play funk. I got to play jazz in Cuba a bit, I'm on our friends and stuff, but I never got to play funk and R&B for real. Like I enjoy it. I had recordings. I dig to it, but I never played it. So when I showed up at College Street Bar, uh, that was happening. I didn't know who was who. And then as the time went by, I realized, like, oh shoot, so these are some of the top players, at least in this scene, in the city. So we had the late Dave Williams, also known as Soul Fingers, Dave Williams, Soul Fingers, playing keys. We had there Levon on guitar. We had Adrian Ekerton on guitar. We had Carl Harvey was also on guitar, mostly known in the reggae scene, but an amazing guitar player as well, and producer and recording engineer.
Yeah.
Shamaka was definitely the house drummer, but then we also had Sekou playing drums as well. He would come by. And there was a bunch of other drummers that I didn't even know. David Edidenzo was also one of those drummers. Oof, amazing. And then a bass player that even today I'm in awe every time I hear him play is the great Rich Brown. Rich Brown was playing there every night. Although there was also a bunch of other bass players like Milo Shangelov, also known now as Amdo Mills, great musical producer living in Florida now. Who
Yeah.
else? Oh, so I met the amazing one of the OGs here for this scene in horn players, um, Mr. Neil Brathwaite, playing saxophone, and also known as Uncle Neil. For me and for many of us that love him, Uncle Neil. And thanks to him, I learned a lot of his stuff because I showed up and I had no idea what to play in the songs, which is vibing. And some of the classic songs that actually had horn lines, he would say, "Okay, play this. Let's play this line. Okay, this is the line of that." And by repetition and by going every week, I learned a lot of the old classic repertoire that was being played in Toronto. I learned it thanks to Uncle Neil, to Neil
Right.
Bradford. He
Beautiful.
was there every week. He was part of the band, I think, at that time, and he would teach me. Like he would teach me. I even go to his place sometimes, and to try to learn some lines, so I know. And I didn't even know the name of the songs. I would recognize the songs. I was like, oh, this is how the song start. Okay, so I think this is the line that goes in this song. And then doing that with Neil, I would learn a lot of the stuff. I met another sax player, Ashot Gregorian. Uh Man, again, this was like 25 years ago, so
Yeah.
it was hard to remember how many older players were there. Adrian Eccleton on guitar as well.
Well, for the
And then
listener,
Wade O'Brown, the great and amazing Wade O'Brown
right?
was for the most part also playing keys and also singing. But yeah, Mike Fofolia, great singer. Um, Calvin Beal, another great, amazing bass player. Whew, yeah, it's
These are some of the finest names in modern jazz and rhythm and blues and funk in Canadian modern history. This is the litany of the greats that a lot of which are still doing it today. Certainly, Neil Braithwaite is one of the names
yeah,
that everybody knows, and of course, Rich Brown is one of the finest bass players I think you're likely to find any in the world. As a
yeah.
matter of fact, if any listeners can remember this name, Rich Brown on bass, you want to go and check that music out. This is a man that can take the bass and make it so that this is the only instrument you actually need to hear. He can make a symphony on the bass. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's part one of my interview with the great trumpeter Alexis Barrow. I'm going to play a couple of tracks now from an album of his called Sandstorm. Once again, all of the links for the purchase of this music can be found on the videos that I put up on the True North Strong and Free YouTube and Facebook pages. Please go to True North Strong and Free on Facebook and YouTube. Look for episode 7, and there you'll find this episode and all the links to purchase the music. Yeah, beautiful. Excellent. Beautiful music from Alexis Barrow. Here's part 2 of my interview with Alexis from this week. So we're going to just backtrack slightly here to the band Collage, Archie Aline. Tell me about your introduction there, and yeah, let me know about that experience, man.
Okay, so when Archie, actually it was Archie and Doug Richardson.
Yeah.
Archie Aline and Dougie, they were co-founders of Collage, or co-leaders, I should say. They showed up at a gig I was playing, and yeah, like he waited until he came like halfway through the first set, and they were like, "Okay, so you wanna play some jazz?" I'm like, "Sure, I love to." He's like, "Okay." So he gave me an envelope. He's like, "Here are some songs. I will see you next week at a rehearsal." So the songs in the envelope, I mean, the envelope had a good amount of songs, not a lot, but a good amount of songs. So I kind of went home, and this was before YouTube was a big thing.
Right.
So I would have to, like, you actually had to go to the record store and buy records, CDs and stuff, right?
Right.
So you could actually listen to a song from top to bottom, because YouTube wasn't a thing when I started
Right.
playing with them. I kind of I recognized some of the songs because I was bebop was kind of like my thing back home. I was when I got introduced to playing jazz, bebop was the style that I was kind of working at the time when I moved here.
Yeah.
So I recognized some of the songs, and some of the other ones were completely new. Most of them were actually completely new for me. I got through some of the songs, and I went to the rehearsal, and the thing that sort of mesmerized me when I started playing with Collage was the sound of the band. It was pretty much what I was hearing in records all these years.
All
So I
right.
was like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm in one of those recordings that I've been listening for years," because Archie had that sound and that feel and that groove from all these legendary drummers. I mean, it was his time and it was his music, right? So he played it like nobody else. So I was like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm in 1954 right now."
Yeah.
Like the way everything bounced. And then that was one thing. The other thing is, um, I think in terms of jazz per se, if we're gonna call it jazz, but in terms of jazz,
Yeah.
uh, in terms of bebop, that was my school. Like, I would say that was my real school. Not from the point of playing, but from the point of understanding the music. Dealing with Collage, dealing with Archie and Dougie was my biggest jazz school. This is one of those lines that Archie said to me in the early days. You know, he's like, "Hey, get out of your comfort zone. If you don't fuck up, you're not trying hard enough."
Yeah. Um, this is great. Really enjoying talking to you. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Can you tell me
No, it's
about
okay.
your from there you went and moved into playing in a lot of the salsa bands and son bands in Toronto. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm Cuban, so I didn't look for Cuban music. Cuban music kind of found me
Yeah.
because I think every Cuban musician that is in town, eventually when you go see one player or when you meet another Cuban player, you're caught up in like the whole circle. I started playing with Sona Che again 25 years ago,
Yeah.
around that time, and yeah, it was one of those things that a cerveceria downtown at that time. It was a club, and Friday nights, if I wasn't working, it was a place that I could go and sort of link up with my people, because you're not this. You gotta have some kind of association with your culture, I think. So that's how I got it. I mean, the great Rufino kept inviting me to go see Rufino Macedo, to go see Sonache, and I would go there and jam with Sonache, and eventually I became part of the band and recorded a couple of albums with it. Played since, I would say, 2000, 2001, 2001. Yeah. Since
Was it wasn't your primary focus on music, but did you find that you enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, and to be honest, I learned a lot because in my time in Cuba, I was never a traditional Cuba music trumpet player. The type of music that Songache would do is not something that I would do in Cuba. So thanks to Rufino and thanks to playing to Songache, I learned a lot of playing traditional Cuban music. So it was also school for me because I didn't play traditional music back home.
Okay, cool. So for the listeners that don't know, Alexis is referencing a band called Sonache. Sonache was a band in Toronto that specialized in playing traditional Cuban music in what was called the Sonora style. I have another show called Sabroso where I talk about Cuban music and its history. And Alexis was a star in that band. Alexis, can you tell me just as we wrap up here? And again, it's always great to talk to you, man. Have you got anything? The album Africando, an incredible album, Africando by Alexis Barro y La Big Banda. I believe I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah,
Was up for a Juno Award this year. It's a stunning album. Can you tell me, have you got anything new coming up? Are you going on tour? What's happening, man?
Yeah, I have a concert at the end of the month, April 30th, International Jazz Day at the Glen Gould.
Glenn Gould, all right.
We're gonna premiere the Big Band live, the
All
entire
right.
album. Yeah.
You're doing the whole album?
Yeah, we're doing the whole album
I
live.
love that. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, man. Are you gonna film it or record it or?
Yeah, we're gonna have some footage. I don't think I'm gonna film the entire thing because like it's a
Yeah.
big band and budget wise, it's a little tough, right?
I hear you. Yeah.
It's like 17, 18 musicians per guest, plus dancers, per this and that. So it's
Wow.
I mean?
I have to be out here in BC. I'm gonna miss it.
It's okay. I'll put some footages out.
Thanks again, Alexis. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, man. All right, coming up next is another band that Alexis Barrow has actually played with. The band is called Cane Fire. Cane Fire is an incredible band. Here's the rundown on them. Caribbean flavored Latin jazz, or is it Latin flavored Caribbean jazz, is what the septet Cane Fire specialize in, and they do it with fire and versatility. Their unique sound blends the Latin and African folk traditions of the Caribbean with Trinidadian carnival and not so straight ahead jazz. This music is fantastic. It's written with an incredible amount of verve and passion. There's a lot of really interesting ideas that are going on with all of the virtuosic playing. It's not just the virtuosic playing that's carrying it, but the compositions are very detailed and nuanced. And there's an overall sense of really great danceable groove and fun with this band. I love them. Cane Fire. love it. That's amazing stuff. Cane Fire, a band led by pianist Jeremy Ledbetter. Fine musician. Coming up next, last track of today's episode. A really interesting little band. Somebody sent me their tunes here from a band called the Kettle Black. By the way, I'll mention it again. If you want your material considered for play on this show, send MP3s and a short bio to Canadian100%@gmail.com. This is the Kettle Black. I find this stuff to be really fun. It's got a really kind of great DIY, very punk kind of attitude to it, and a really terrific sense of humor in its delivery and the lyrics. Here is the Kettle Black. They describe themselves as folk prog art punk. Yep, okay. Kettle Black, here we go.
Didn't mean to rock the boat, do you think we're all gonna drown? Guess I could have made a joke and hoped to be profound, but you know what they say, I don't got the time. Can't figure out what's mine, and I'm leaving anyway. Didn't mean to rock the boat, do you think we're all gonna die? Guess I could have left a note, but there'd be no one to reply. Did you check the horoscope, or you trying to concede? Everything becomes the truth once you learn to believe, and you know what they say, I don't got the time. Can't figure out what's mine, and I'm leaving anyway. Didn't mean to rock the boat, looks like we're gonna sink. The education costs a lot, but we couldn't learn to think. Planet Earth, a utopia, but other stories can't be true. Takes a lot to cooperate, to fuck it up just takes a few, and you know what they say, I don't got the time. Can't figure out what's mine, and I'm leaving anyway. Didn't mean to rock the boat, looks like we're gonna fry. I guess I could have tried the boat, but you gotta wonder why. Did you check the horoscope, who you tried to deceive? True, it's truth that gives us hope, but it's not honesty, and you know what they say, I don't got the time to figure out who's lying. Still will love you anyway.